Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another episode of the Investor Motivation Podcast. You are back with Amy Lehman and
Rob Gowdy.
Yeah.
Cool. Welcome back.
Welcome back, everybody.
Excellent.
This week we will be covering off on a topic from a YouTube commenter. Somebody commented that they were approaching retirement and felt as if they had, run out of time to accumulate for their retirement and wanted to hear some strategies.
Yeah, it was based on a comment that was from our Peter Thornhill webinar that we did. Obviously, we are disciples of what Peter does. And yeah, this guy was mid-50s and sort of said, great stuff, bit of a shame I'm too old.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to unpack that and understand life expectancies and compound interest and all these things that should impact our investing mindset.
Yeah.
We provided a bit of feedback to say there's probably a fair bit of time ahead, but let's unpack that and have a conversation around that. Yeah, it's never too late.
Yeah, and we'll kind of do it in two parts. This one is going to be a little bit more about the mindset of it and a bit more background education to then gear us up for next week's episode, which will be some actual, money strategies on getting
superannuation,
loading up.
Yeah, making sure that you're making the most of what you're doing. But before we kick off, I'll do the acknowledgement of the land, which is on behalf of the Investor Motivation Podcast. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, which we record the podcast and pay our respects to elders past, present, and emerging.
Perfect.
Which is even more appropriate with the vote only a week and a bit away.
Yeah, early voters open now.
Yeah. So, Amy, I think we should start with the world's best investor, the most patient man in the world, Warren Buffett. Yeah. So we independently, when we were researching for this topic, landed on the same spot, as we often do. What did you learn about Warren Buffett? And obviously he's accumulated phenomenal wealth. What's the key takeout?
Yeah, well, he is the fifth richest person in the world. And I guess a fun fact that we stumbled across, we both did, that he actually accumulated 99% of his wealth after age 50, which that just sounds incredible. And, that hearing that alone does sound incredible, but it is with an understanding that he had accumulated a significant amount of wealth before 50, but the power of compounding on that amount just absolutely exponentially grew thereafter.
Yeah, it's an interesting graph, and by all means, do a search on Warren Buffett, assets from 50 or something. Google will work it out for you, but the numbers essentially look at, at 52, looking at a graph here. At age 52, it's $376 million. And he's now worth a bit over $110 billion.
$1 billion.
That's definitely
that's a Dr. Evil pinky
moment.
Up to him. Yeah.
And there's a lot of reasons for this, but and I mentioned right at the start, the most patient man in the world, but it's compounding interest.
Yeah, and it's living within your means. And we talked about it before we started this podcast, but, he still drives his 2014 Cadillac car, and you mentioned he still lives in the same family home.
And he still drives through Macca's each day to get his brekkie, and if the market was kind the day before, he gets a hash brown apparently. And what is interesting, the large bulk of his billions is all within Berkshire Hathaway.
Yeah.
And this is the interesting note, and he's a bit eccentric, no doubt, that he lives very humbly. Berkshire Hathaway for the last 50-something years has never paid a dividend. So he has this monstrous wealth of over $100 billion. Again, Dr. Evil. $100 billion, but he doesn't receive any dividends.
Yeah.
So, the motivation for him is actually not about money. Well, it is money.
But it's not about boasting the money and spending the money he earns. It's
not flashy. It doesn't change his life. He gets paid a wage for his work at Berkshire Hathaway and loves accumulating. He's an investor and he actually loves the process.
Yeah, and that's, not dissimilar with Peter Thornhill and why we also love him.
Yep.
He said he still drives the same car he's had for the past 20 years and just gets him from A to B and then goes on holiday, and that's when he'll, have most fun and rent the luxury cars. But
absolutely,
it's just living humbly most of the time.
So, I was looking at the graph of Buffett's wealth and looking at saying, well, what age could he actually have been financially independent?
And by that, What do you mean by financially
Well,
independent?
having enough money to provide the income you need for the rest of your life.
Without having to work again?
Correct, without having to work. So that's pure financial independence.
Yeah.
You're not relying on Centrelink, the government, true independence.
Yeah.
And knowing that, Warren Buffett is probably a reasonably conservative person. Well, he is. He's not flashy. He doesn't have a big flash car, and he's been in the same family home for decades and decades. And looking at probably at age 33, he was worth 2.4 million reportedly, and at age 35, he was worth $7 million. I have no doubt that he could have retired and still lived a very happy life,
Yeah.
and had enough money at that age. So, and it doesn't have to be billions of dollars.
No.
It doesn't have to be millions of dollars. It only has to be enough to provide the income you need.
Exactly right.
Now, back to obviously our comment around, geez, I feel as though I've missed the boat. The horses have bolted. I'm age 55, no time left.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about life expectancies.
Yeah, exactly right. We know, especially with superannuation, it is an investment vehicle to last our lifetime.
Yep.
We're going to receive our income and pension from that for the remainder of our lives. It's not just a set and withdraw it at 65 and then you're living with cash.
Yep, and it's geared up to pay out progressive pensions on an ongoing basis. But how long? The key issue here at age 55, how long may we live? Are we done by 65? Well, the answer is generally no.
Hopefully not.
And the stats show that people will overestimate how long other people will live, and underestimate how they will live themselves.
Yeah.
So let's go and have a look at some of the stats in terms of, these are, this is the Australian life expectancy, but we've got some other countries as well, which Amy will be interested in. But in 91, this is for the ladies. So 1991, just over 80 years was the average life expectancy. Now, clearly there's 50% above and 50% below. It's an average.
Yeah.
But through to 21, that's now increased to a bit over 85.
Yeah, that just proves how amazing advanced science and modern science can be.
And males have done the same thing. So, 76, we're now up over 80.
Yeah.
Now, the interesting point for Amy was, by country, Australia is ranked number 3.
Yeah.
Beaten by Morocco, obviously, sorry, is that Monaco? No, it's
Monaco.
Monaco. So obviously a wealthy community.
Yeah.
Is number 1, but number 2 is Japan. So that puts you half of each, 2.5.
2.5.
So look out.
There we go.
You're going to be about for a while, Amy.
Yeah. And for those that don't know, I am half Japanese. My mum is Japanese, so that's where the comment's coming from. Half of that.
So good luck to you. Half your luck. So
half my luck.
Yeah. So it's a 50% success rate of getting to those ages.
Yeah.
And once you get to those ages, you then live beyond.
Yeah, exactly right.
So the older you live, the older you're expected to live. So, so 50-50 chance of getting to age of the life expectancy. But once you get there, your life expectancy actually goes up. So you're expected to live longer. Yeah.
And what would you say for the average client that walks in? What do you think we mostly project out to?
Yeah, we go to around 93.
Yeah.
So, and of course, that's where people underestimate it. Oh, yeah, Rob, I don't expect to be about then. And quite often I say, well, how old's mum and dad? And if they're not passed away, they're often in their 90s or late 80s. So I say, well, there's the proof.
Proof is in the pudding.
In addition to the progression of healthcare and advances in that area that will help us keep us well for longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully well, not just alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, big difference. Your life expectancy will increase as you age.
Yeah.
The longer you live, the longer you'll live.
Yep, and having a financial advisor that will project out to that 93 is always the most conservative kind of projections we try to do.
Yep.
And obviously if you get there and you've still got the financial advisor, they'll project out further, but it's just making sure that you've got that peace of mind that you do have enough.
Yeah, the biggest aha moments I get when I meet with clients is when I use the projector and, it is that standard worry, will I have enough? And when I calculate things out, And it is about what you earn and how much you've got and how much you spend is probably one of the key factors.
And how you're invested.
Yes, how you invested. The rate makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
We can talk about the rule of 72 in a moment. But the biggest aha moment is when someone sits down and they just are concerned, will I have enough?
Yeah.
And we project it out and say, yes, you will have enough. There's slouching in the chair where they just go,
Yeah.
that's good. That is a load off.
Yeah. And I probably just want to, plug our business if we can. All our initial appointments are of no charge, and generally in those appointments is when we do complete a projector. So if anybody wants to have that one-on-one with us, we're more than happy to do it, whether it's over a Teams or Zoom appointment or come into the office. And
fair enough. Our podcast, Amy, I suppose we can do that.
Yeah.
But, that's right. One thing that I've always prided myself on, we've never held the cards close to our chest. We want to educate people.
Yeah.
We want to show people. And so, as I've always said, if we educate and we increase knowledge, then all these things that are complex become not complex and easy, and you make educated decisions.
Exactly right. And there are probably a lot of great projecting calculators that are on the internet. Yeah. Otherwise, if you want to do it yourself.
Yep. Money Smart, the government one.
Yeah.
Or Smart Money. Which one is it?
Money Smart.
Money Smart.
Yep.
Excellent. Very good. What other areas in this would you like to have a chat about, Abby?
I guess to do all of these projectors, and if you are thinking about retiring, it's about assessing where you are now.
Yep.
What assets do you actually have? What debts do you have? How much capacity do you have to, bolstering up your superannuation and spending a little bit less, and figuring out how much you do need to spend every year when you retire.
It's vital.
Yeah.
Yep. And again, that's the projectors. There's plenty online. Speak to your financial advisor. And in terms of, just getting back to the comment from the guy of our YouTube, I'm 55, I can't implement strategies where I'm investing into the markets. I don't have enough time. Well, long term is often, 5 years or more. So if someone's 55 and he's a guy, and I reckon he'll live for at least another 25 years on average.
Yeah.
So 25 years, if we boil down what's happening, which is investing into businesses, I reckon 25 years is enough for people like us who own businesses or people at Microsoft that are running the business. That's enough time for them to implement and improve and sell more and grow profit.
Exactly right. And it's the same as you can hopefully expect to live to that age, because all of these medical businesses that are continuously improving themselves, you know what, you can also invest into those healthcare businesses that you think are going to do that.
Yes.
Live longer and, grow your wealth.
Absolutely.
It all is hand in hand, and you've got plenty of time to ride out the volatility in the markets.
Yep.
To go to an index fund or just to the index, zoom out, 30 years if you think that's what you've got ahead of you, and have a look at what that average return is, and you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. And so if you've got X amount of years left, if you calculate it out to 18 and above as the average, and you think about, what return might I expect? If I'm investing into business over a very long term, 9-10% is the long-term average. So this is where you can go and use the rule of 72. So you are dividing the annual rate of return by 72.
Yeah.
And so best example is if you divide 72 by 6, that will give you 12, of course. That's 12 years to double your money.
Yeah.
So if you then divide 72 by 7, amount of years comes down. So if you're expecting to get an 8% return, divide 72 by 8, and that will give you obviously a new number, which will be 9 years.
Yeah.
And so 9 years to double your money.
Yeah.
So, and if you're 50 or if you're 60 and you've got 20 or 30 years, well, there you go.
Yeah.
You've got chance not only to get a good income, because you've got an income. It's not just about growing money, but you can grow your money from there.
Yeah.
You've got plenty of time left.
These businesses that are growing, you can also be in businesses that are paying a dividend as well as growing.
Yeah.
You can, pick So then you're supplementing your income that's coming in as well as growing your wealth.
Absolutely.
Win-win.
And of course, the longer we live, and this is for Warren Buffett, and I'd encourage everyone to go online and check out that graph because it goes exponential at the end. It looks like the classic hockey stick.
Yeah. And for the podcasters, we'll put the image on the screen.
Awesome. So with that, obviously, it's the effect of compound interest.
Yeah.
Which I know we've explained before, but Amy, I'll get you to explain again. What is compound interest?
Compound interest is having your money that has a return of, 10% if you're lucky. The 10% income that you receive is reinvested. So you have $100. Next year you've got $110 because you've got the 10%, $10 on top of that. And then you've got the 10% on that money, and it just grows and grows and grows and accumulates. And that Warren Buffett graph will just show you it might start off small as the money is small, but as it grows, it just becomes vertical.
Interest on interest.
Yeah.
And obviously, as money grows, and I think it was Charlie Munger, which is Warren Buffett's business partner, the one thing he said was, getting to that first 100,000 is the hardest. Getting to the first million, that's hard.
Yeah.
Beyond that, money makes money, and compounding interest does the job.
And that's exactly how we, say that Warren Buffett may have been able to retire at 33 years old with his, couple million, because if you have it in a term deposit alone on a couple million, you've got plenty enough to get you through.
Absolutely. So we'll cover off some of the superannuation strategies for older people next week. Any other issues that we need to cover off for our friend at age 55 that thinks that he's missed the boat?
I think the most important and we see the most value is when a client comes in, they do the projector and they go, okay, yes, I've got enough. And that's for people that have, a couple $100,000 in super, as well as those that are wanting to sell the farm and, have millions. Everybody is worried about it. And the best thing you can do for peace of mind is actually project out and see that, yes, you've got enough.
Yes.
If you have this much and, you've invested correctly and you want to withdraw however much, you just plug it all in.
It brings up a whole other discussion around how much is enough. And, there's so much information out there where people say you need millions to be, to be able to retire. Well, to be fully independent, that's true. But I've always never liked, those sort of comments, because people with $500,000 that, with a couple getting a pension as well to supplement their income are extremely comfortable.
Yeah.
As long as their income is not $120,000 per year.
Yeah.
If they're drawing that out per year, well, a pension's not going to help you. 500 grand pension will run out very quickly. But if you're happy earning 60 grand a year, it's pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
You get, close to 40 from the age pension, and you supplement 20 grand from your 500 grand.
Yeah.
That's pretty comfortable.
And there are plenty of strategies that we'll get into next week on how to, load up and accumulate or put your money in places that you can get the maximum age pension as possible. And
absolutely. So I reckon that's a good one. We've probably covered off that reasonably well.
Yeah.
But I suppose the moral of this story is time is on your side.
Yes.
You have time.
You have plenty of time. And looking at it at age 55, you access super 65 or 60. And if it's 65, you've got a lot of time to load up your super and put a lot of plans in place to do that. So,
and the people that obviously watching and leaving comments on our videos and our podcast are also people that are interested and understanding the businesses that you invest into, like Buffett does. It's potential to enjoy this.
Yeah,
it can be a good hobby. I'm not talking about just barracking for share prices, but understanding businesses, reading the reports, reading the CEO and management letters, see what it's doing, how it's progressing.
Yeah.
That's obviously the fun part. That's why I like my job.
It can be heaps of fun.
Excellent. Thank you very much for listening. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're on that. There is 560 plus videos there now. Thank you for everyone's efforts in the office for there. We education-based business.
Yeah.
If anyone's got any ideas, a topic you'd like us to cover, let us know. We'll rip in.
Yep. And don't worry, we'll definitely get into the nitty-gritty strategies next week if that's what you're after. So stay tuned.
Fantastic. Thank you for listening.
Till then.
Bye.
Bye.